Hey everybody, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets, your premier source for Second Amendment news. Thursday, May 7th is today's date. First off, before I jump into the news, I want to thank GunPro Deals for being a sponsor of the news. You can check them out. You can Google them very easily. I can't put the link down below because it has to do with a firearm, and that's freedom, and we can't do that. So please check them out on Google. They're having fantastic sales, and they have great prices on things like the Strybog, which I love, and the Tippmann M422, which I love. You will find them there. And tell Nate I said hi. Let's move on to today's news. Now, if you remember, I've done a bunch of videos on how the NICS background check system, which is run by the FBI, has been inundated over the last 2 months since this corona pandemic stay-at-home suggestion order has been in effect. And the system has been just like bogged down, which has created a backlog and unconstitutional delays for some, not all. Every time I say that, it has caused delays for some, I get probably 40 people in the comments, "Not here, I just bought my gun." Congratulations, that's awesome, I'm glad you're buying the guns. But it is affecting some people around the country. And when I say it's an unconstitutional delay, you'll remember, hopefully from videos I did, that if the NICS check system doesn't produce a reason to not have that transaction go through, meaning that person is prohibited within 3 days, then the transaction goes through. So some states have been experiencing delays longer than that, and some Democratic senators and Congress members have even written letters to the ATF and the FBI suggesting that they hold off and keep these records illegally for 90 days after this pandemic is over. All kinds of stuff just to basically create an unconstitutional gun registry. No other reason to do that. But I wanted to point out something that has looked to help that system. It's all too often we hear about the negative stuff, but here's something that a couple senators have taken upon themselves this week to try to help that system. And they're asking the FBI, look, do you need any help? We'll get you some help. So the senators who are looking to make sure that gun sales go through the way they're supposed to constitutionally and not have our rights violated like the Democrat ones want, I'm going to read you the list, okay? The letter was penned by Senators Ted Cruz and John Cornyn, both of Texas, but they were also joined by Senator Chuck Grassley from Iowa, Tim Scott from South Carolina, Mike Crapo from Idaho, Ben Sasse from Nebraska, Tom Tillis from North Carolina, Johnny Ernst from Iowa, John Barrasso from Wyoming, Mike Braun from Indiana, Shelley Moore Capito from West Virginia, Bill Cassidy from Louisiana, Tom Cotton from Arkansas, Kevin Kramer from North Dakota, Stephen Daines from Montana, Michael NZ from Wyoming, Deb Fisher from Nebraska, John Hoven from North Dakota, Cindy Hyde-Smith from Mississippi, James Inhofe from Oklahoma, James Lankford from Oklahoma, Kelly Loeffler, sorry Kelly, from Georgia, David Perdue from Georgia, James Risch from Idaho, Mike Rounds from South Dakota, John Thune from South Dakota, Roger Wicker from Mississippi, and Todd Young from Indiana. Now, I will give you the key components of this letter. It's rather a lengthy little bit of a letter here, but I'll give you the key components. And like always, a link will be in the description to this letter. But this is coming strictly because of the delays that are being experienced by NICS. Remember, 3.7 million firearms were sold in March of 2020, as soon as everybody thought the world was ending. And in April, just last month, there were 1.7 million firearms sold, and while that's a drastic reduction from March, it's still a 75% increase from last April. Now, this letter was penned on May 4th, or typed, they don't pen anything anymore, and it was sent to Christopher Wray, who's the director of the FBI, and also Regina Lombardo, who's the acting director of ATF. And it starts out in the first paragraph by, we understand the pandemic has placed all kinds of restrictions and demands on all facets of everybody's agency, and thank you for doing what you do. It goes into the fact that how many guns have been sold as Americans exercise their constitutional right to keep and bear arms, and a bunch of other speak. Here comes the good parts. As our country continues to respond to the pandemic, we are seeking additional information on the impact of the coronavirus has had on your agencies in the firearms transfer process, so that we have a clearer picture on where things stand and how we can better assist through the legislative and appropriations process. Meaning they're looking to get them some help, whether it's more money into the NICS program, more butts in the seat to do the checks, They want to make sure that the system goes unaffected or uninterrupted, much to the opposite of what their counterparts in the Democrat system want. They want the system to be stopped, to be prolonged, to be a data collection group so that we can have names of everybody who bought all these guns. It's crazy. Federal law expressly recognizes the right of law-abiding citizens to purchase and possess firearms, but bars certain individuals, like criminals and the dangerously mentally ill. NICS was designed to provide a quick and accurate determination about whether a person can lawfully purchase a firearm from a federally licensed firearms dealer. Any reasonable and unnecessary delay beyond the 3 business days unlawfully impedes the exercise of a person's fundamental constitutional right. We all agree. It continues with this: we appreciate that the current national emergency has brought about unprecedented challenges for the FBI and the ATF, and we appreciate that your agencies are working with significant challenges for staff and resources. We are confident that through your leadership, we can work together to ensure that the NICS remains up and running during this crisis and that law-abiding citizens are not deprived of their constitutional right to keep and bear arms, especially during these uncertain times. So if your senator was one of the senators that I named, you should probably thank them for the fact that they are standing up for the Second Amendment and telling the ATF and the FBI that the system, even though some people don't agree with the system, they're standing up for the fact that we should not interrupt the sale of firearms to the people who want to exercise their right. So that alone is, in my book, it's worthy of support, or just send them a message, let them know, hey, good job on what you're doing regarding the NICS, supporting NICS and the FBI and the ATF on that. Now, while I have your attention, if you've made it this far, my voice is cracking. Today, actually right now as I'm recording this, there is a hearing going on for Massachusetts regarding the closing of the gun ranges and firearms retail establishments. And stay tuned. If that interests you, or if you're in a state that is also still hemmed up like this, today's decision can be used to help you. It won't impact your state in just off of the decision itself, but the decision and the way it comes out, if it's done correctly, we're waiting on the judge, it can help you. So I will probably be able to have something shortly, and it'll probably be live because it'll be an announcement. That's my hope. If not, I'll have a video and be very pissed off. So thank you for your time. So this is rare good news that the senators are trying to keep the right to keep and bear arms going. I just thought I'd bring that today because that is something you generally don't see anymore. So thank you all for your time. Please subscribe to the channel if you are interested in Second Amendment news. This is where you'll find it. All of it. Good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. No matter where it happens. Some of it might be super interesting. Some of it might be super depressing. But this is where you find it. All right, guys. I hope you all are having a great day. And there'll be more to come today. Be safe, stay vigilant, and carry your weapon. Take care.